different side controls this week. Right? Most common side control we talked about is called a shoulder adjustment, right? I'm gonna lock my hands under Dan's head here. My far arm is under his shoulder, near arm under his head. My knees are wide, my butt's back on my heels. All right, this adds pressure to him without putting all my weight forward, where he just lifts his right arm, rolls me over, I cry because I'm so embarrassed, right? Instead, I'm getting dense on this side. That's how small people can seem really heavy, because they get all their body weight on one arm, one side, right? Shoulder adjustments is a great control position. After I spent 5 minutes trying to take him down, accidentally falling down, getting confused, and then somehow ending up on top, I can go, holy shit, that was a lot of work. All right, and there's not a lot he can do. Dan can try and push into me, but as long as he's looking that way, he can't do a lot. Does that make sense? So, again, shoulder adjustments. Now, to get out of here, Dan's gonna control my inside hip just like he is. He's framing here, which allows him to push my hip backwards a little bit. That takes some pressure off his face. When the pressure's off his face, he can slide this hand in. He's gonna grab the back, slow down. Grab the back of my shoulder, that bone on the back of my shoulder, to anchor his arm and lift his elbow above his shoulder. Notice my voice changes because he's crushing my throat. The harder I push down, the more it sucks for me, right? When he does this, right, he makes that space, boom, he's gonna keep his elbow there, swim his underhook, right? Now he's getting to his side. There's not a lot you can do when your back is flat on the ground. Right, now that he's on his side, he's got the underhook, he goes to look for my foot, pulls it out, rotates my hips, runs me over, and circles around behind. We call this the out the back drill. All right, now same thing here. I'm framing his hip, I frame his neck, I swim my underhook. You'll notice my leg is up at his hip. Okay, we got all these limbs, they're dumb. Right, we got legs and arms, and they don't seem to want to ever do the same thing, even though we tell them to do things. Right? So when he's crushing my head here, right, I'm focused on this sucks. And so I'm pulling at his arms and everything. I forget about my legs. What does Dan do? He just slides that knee right across my belly. Whoop! Now he's up into a knee on belly or mount position because I wasn't covering myself. So, since I don't like to think because it hurts my head, I just keep this knee up. I don't want to step on my leg because that now connects my legs and it's easy for him to control. Instead, I just lift my knee up. Right? Now, wherever Dan goes with his hips, trying to step over, trying to slide his knee in, I can keep my leg in his way with very little effort. Okay? This is just, think of this like a tripwire. All it's doing is monitoring his hip. If something pushes on my leg, then my consciousness will go back to it and I'll pay attention to it. But until then, it's just there. Right? So I block his hip, block his neck, I'm anchoring that arm so I can make my frame. I swim that hand, not my elbow. If I lead with my elbow, Dan just squishes it to me and he traps me. I want to keep my elbow there. That's the frame, that's the corner of my house. If that elbow collapses, my house collapses. I'm going to swim the hand, I stomp, and as his weight comes back down on top of me, because he's still squishing me, right? He wants to hold me, he doesn't want to let me go. I'm cute, come on, right? I stomp that leg, I shoot that arm, and I throw myself out behind him, pulling his butt to the ground, and I just circle. Now, one little thing here is that your arm tends to get trapped, right? His arm's wrapped around my arm in what we call an overhook or a whizzer, right? I can't just yank my arm out. So instead, I'm gonna scratch my belly button, okay? And I'm gonna see how it smells. And then get your hand out. All right, we call it a limp arm. All right, that's how we teach it to the kids. I know it sounds silly, but believe me, it'll work, right? Scratch your belly button, scratch your nose, and your arm will be free. Yes? I love when there's new people, they don't know my jokes. All right, 1, 2, 3.